And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, and we're joined by a regular guest and a new guest. So thank you for taking the time, ma'am, but I'm going to give them both a chance to introduce themselves real quick. And just to lead it off, since he is a seasoned vet here in the podcast booth, we're going to let the gentleman on the right introduce himself first.
I'm Gerard Landry, the mayor of Denham Springs, otherwise known as Paradise on Earth, all 7.5 square miles.
The typical intro.
That's correct.
And you, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kenyatta Robertson, and I serve as the program coordinator for Capital Region Planning Commission. I oversee our TDM program, which is for travel demand management.
Okay. Well, can I ask you real quick before we get into anything else? Could you give us a quick, 20 to 30 seconds? What is TDM?
Oh, goodness. TDM, carpool, van pool, biking, walking, teleworking. It's choosing alternative modes of transportation to get from point A to point B.
Okay, that was great. So, and the reason I asked you to talk about that is because that's the reason we're here. We're here to talk about the storm that is coming in Baton Rouge. The beginning stages of it have already started. If you want to liken it to a hurricane, we're starting to feel the winds, the headwinds here. So why don't you go ahead and take a second to talk about what we can expect coming in EBR, and what we're talking about is the I-10 widening and lane shutting down and commuting.
Yes. So what our program has been tasked to do, and for those that don't know, which many of you I'm sure have already seen it start to happen out there, is the I-10 widening project. So DOTD has begun. There's going to be several phases and stages of this that's going to happen over the next couple of years. And what CRPC has been tasked to do through this program is to help reduce the amount of traffic congestion that's going to take place on our roadways. Right now, I believe it's 4 lanes that's there, and many times throughout the day, just driving, whether it's morning, noon, afternoon, or night, those lanes are at full capacity already. And don't add a crash to that. There's even more congestion that's then on the roadways. But with the I-10 widening project, in order to increase capacity, for now we have to decrease capacity and what that looks like. So we're going to be losing a few lanes in this process. And what the Commuter Krewe team is here to do is to partner people together by carpooling, van pooling. We have a very huge bike community that's also represented in East Baton Rouge Parish. A lot of bike advocates that choose to bike to work. Some of them may walk to work. And there's many large employers that are already looking into the option of teleworking, which is even better, because if you're at home, you're not in the vehicle and you're not adding to the congestion that's already out there. So I do see more companies and organizations tending to offer telework as an option to their employees during this time. But the Commuter Krewe program, we're here to help assist with getting a lot of this traffic off the road. So let's say the 3 of us that we're here in the room together, let's say we all work together. Well, what we could do is carpool, right? That would take 2 additional cars off the road. If we worked for a large employer, there may be 10, 15, 20 of us that decided to van pool together. What our organization is doing now, which is something we'll probably get into a little bit later with Mayor Landry, is creating parking pool lots where you can park your car, catch a ride, and then travel to work, especially if your work shifts are the same, not staggered, 9 to 5, 8 to 5. And then you could carpool together that way too. So it's one of our ways. Commuter Krewe is a very small piece of the puzzle to the bigger problem that's happening right now. But if we all work together, then we could really make this very effective in trying to reduce the amount of traffic that's on the roadways.
Sure. So you already covered it. The name of it is Commuter
Krewe. Yes.
And Mayor Landry, we're going to get to you in just a second, because there are some community partners that have already stepped up to try to help out with sort of getting this established. As we discussed, it's not going to be gangbusters the first day, but we're going to try to see if more people can get interested. But central focus of this is an app, correct?
Absolutely. So we have an app. You download the app, and you can do that by going, if you have Apple, you can go to your iOS store. You can find it there. And if you have an Android, you can go to your Google Play Store. You type in Commuter Krewe and you can download it. Also, by visiting our website, www.commuterkrewe.la, is where you can find additional information on how to download and create the account as well. Very simple, takes about 30 seconds or less. We've streamlined what that process now looks like. You create the account, and then there's instructional videos, or even if you would like our team to come out and visit with your employer, we can kind of give you step-by-step instructions on, once that account is created, how do you begin logging your trips.
Sure. And, that's the main focus of the app, is to help log your trips. It also helps you connect with others who are looking for similar service, right?
Absolutely. So one of those questions that we always get is, Kenyatta, I'm not riding a car with a stranger. What if I don't know who this person is? Well, that's a good thing about our program as well. We can come out to your agency and your organization, and we have what's called a try it day. So you get to meet other people that are in the same boat as you within your organization. You may already work with them. You may live close to them, maybe in the same neighborhood together. So we don't put you in a stranger danger type situation. We make sure, safety first, that you know who you're riding with. And if you don't, then we match you with someone that has, and this will also in the app when you go in, smoking. Do you like to drive? There's a series of questions that we ask to make sure that you're partnered with someone that's suitable to carpool with.
Sure. So you're really looking to make sure that the connections made are going to be sustainable.
Absolutely. And once you try it, we hope it may turn into 1 day of carpooling, into 2 days a week carpooling, or, oh, I really like Mayor Landry, we can carpool every day together. It's just getting a feel for it. It's not the norm for us right now to do a lot of carpooling and van pooling. When you go to larger metropolitan planning areas, you see this all the time. Washington, New York, Texas, California, it's their way of living. But for us, it's not. But because of the construction, what's coming ahead, how it's going to affect our commutes getting to work every day, what used to be 30 minutes may be over an hour. It may be over 2 hours now. But if I'm riding in the car with my friend Mayor Landry and we're carpooling together, we get to spend some time catching up with each other, learning more about each other, and just kind of processing ourselves in our mind before we get our workday started. So
sure,
I always say try it. You'll like it.
Sure, and there are some benefits that are going to come with it. We're going to talk about those in a second.
Yes.
I want to jump over to Mayor Landry. City of Denham Springs already has a community partner that's interested in getting this started, correct?
Yeah, so the Pentecostal church here in town, we approached them about the possibility of using their parking lot, and they're very excited to do so. We've already have the memorandum of understanding already signed, sealed, ready to go forward. We've already had the parking lot signs ordered, and they're just waiting to be installed once we're ready to kick this thing off. We're thinking we'll probably do something like a ribbon cutting and another story with you in the papers to kind of tell people, okay, now it's time. Mm-hmm. But the information that Kenyatta and her group hopes to collect is going to be instrumental in telling us how soon we can move forward. But we're starting.
Now, what information is that? People signing up for the app?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So y'all are looking to pull not necessarily demographic data, but just sort of an aggregate. How many people are actually interested?
That's right.
Okay. So that's a good point. So if you do hear this podcast, you are interested, please go download the app. That was something we were trying to hammer home. Now it's especially important because y'all are trying to determine how many people in the general area would be interested. Now, jumping back over real quick, you don't necessarily have to be a citizen of Denham Springs.
That's exactly right. So we may have some people that actually live in Tangipahoa Parish that travel through Denham going downtown to work at Exxon or some of the state governmental offices that we have. So it would make sense that they drive halfway, drop their car off, and carpool the rest of the way.
Sure.
And so they can save a lot of money. Like Kenyatta said, if it's two people carpooling, somebody's saving 50% on gas.
That's
okay.
Right.
If it's three people, it's a big savings. If it's four people, it's not a lot of gasoline that's being saved, and numbers of cars that are being removed from the roadway, which is something we have to remember. That's the main focus: removing the number of cars off the roadway so that we can actually navigate the Baton Rouge streets, because the interstates are going to be dire straits. Okay,
Yeah.
Sure.
And we're very good friends with Fred Rayford in Baton Rouge, and he's having He's pulling his hair out trying to figure out where all these people are going to go, what's going to happen to Florida Boulevard, Airline Highway. There's a lot of major thoroughfares that are going to be impacted. And look, it's not just Dinner Springs. It's Port Allen, Zachary, everybody in West Baton Rouge, Livingston Parish. I mean, so everybody's going to be impacted by this because we're all having to go to the same spots.
Yeah.
Sure. And we'll get to that in a minute because there's another thing. Old Hammond Highway is being widened at the same time.
Correct.
Yes.
So that's going to be very interesting. But I want to jump back over to you. We talked about just now that signing up for the app is very integral for this program to move forward. You already brought up the word benefits. Specifically, what are some of these benefits that people can enjoy?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I also wanted to mention that these benefits are not just for the residents here of Livingston. Our program actually covers the 5 parish area within the Regional Planning Commission. So Livingston, Ascension, if you live in East Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge, and also Iberville, you can take a part of this program. If you live in East Baton Rouge, but you commute to work in Iberville, you can do this. If you're in Iberville, you commute to West Baton Rouge, you can take a part of this program. So one of the exciting things that I love is happening is our incentive program. So once you create your account in the app, the first stage of this is called our Krewe Bucks. So it's like within the first 90 days, it's our initial 90-day incentive program, Krewe Bucks. You go in and you log your trips. What do I mean by log your trips? I don't want to scare anybody by thinking that's a hard process. Does she want all our information? Is she going to be tracking us on Google? Like, we don't want to do that. That's not what this information is for. Once you create your account in the system, you will actually tell us, I'm leaving from 1234 Red Street and I'm traveling to 1234 Black Street. You're giving us the destination from where you're starting and the destination from where you're ending. That is considered one leg of your trip. Well, when you get ready to go home in the afternoon, I'm leaving back from 1234 Black Street, going back to 1234 Red Street. That's the second leg of your trip. The more trips you log in the system, the more you earn in incentives. So for the first half, we give out Amazon gift cards. I don't know about you. I love Amazon gift cards. I have a whole wish list that is created. And so every so many months or so, I go in and I move items from the wish list into my cart because you always find what you need on Amazon, right? Always. So depending upon the number of trips that you log, it may be a $10 gift card. It increases to $25 the more you log. Then it goes to $35. Then it'll be $45, all the way up to $50 for the first quarter of logging your trips. The second quarter, once you've completed your Krewe Bucks, you move into Krewe Club. So every quarter thereafter, if you log a minimum of 20 clean commutes, and clean commutes is an alternative transportation route, carpool, vanpool, biking, walking, telework, those are all considered clean commutes. If you log a minimum of 20 clean commutes each quarter after that, then you get to choose from other gift cards. Benny's, you got to keep that oil change, right? Especially if you're the carpool driver for that week. Amazon, Shell, Walmart, Raising Cane's is another option. And we've also partnered with, here in Livingston Parish, Texas Roadhouse. So if you don't mind me giving a huge shout out to them.
No, please do.
They are like an amazing partner over in Jubin Crossing. So we have gift cards that now have the Commuter Krewe logo on there. In addition to Texas Roadhouse logo, for $25, you're able to choose those gift cards as well. For college students, Southern University, LSU, BRCC, if they're logging their trips as well, we're now partnering with their bookstores. Maybe it's a gift card to their bookstore where they can go in and pick up things that they need for school for logging their trips. And then lastly, if you're a transit rider, and you're in a van pool, and let's say you're paying $50 a month to ride the van pool every day, but you're logging your trips, and I'm going to give you that $25 at the end of the quarter. You can then take that $25, apply it towards your $50 on your van pool. Now you're only paying $25 for that month to ride the van pool. And I don't know about you guys, but if I could put $25 worth of gas in my car, that would be great. But That's not happening. So to ride a van pool and only be able to expend that small amount of money to be able to get from home to work, I think is definitely a plus.
So I was going to jump back over to Mayor Landry, but you did talk about van pool a lot.
Yes.
Could you,
Yes.
we actually talked about the particulars before we got started. Could you break that down?
Absolutely. So van pool, this happens with many of our large employers. Also, Home Depot, one of our partners here in Livingston Parish, we just had this conversation with them as well. So let's say an organization, a large employer here has 10, 15 employees, and they're all commuting from the Tangipahoa area. Or maybe they're coming from Ascension Parish to work here for Methanex. You guys do have a lot of large corporations that's here as well. Well, that organization can reach out to us and request a van pool. One of our partners is Commute with Enterprise, and they are fantastic partners in helping us get van pools to the table. So let's say there's 10 of us in the van pool. It costs X amount of dollars to rent the van for the month, but you have 10 people that are on there. Those 10 people will now split the cost of riding that van. But in addition to splitting the cost, don't forget, if you have the app and you're logging your trips while you're on the van pool, you can still earn incentives while riding in the plan as well.
Okay. So there's options.
There's lots of options.
Have a lot of options. So that's very interesting. So Mayor Landry, one of the things that you brought up is that you have been in discussion with Fred Rayford, who is the Director of Public Works and EBR, used to be at Walker. There's a little bit of tension going into this. There's a little bit of concern. As I said earlier, during this time, Old Hammond Highway is going to be under a widening project. They're trying to push a lot of traffic on the Florida Boulevard, which is going to have its own fun times. So, what's some of the feedback that you're getting from the folks in Baton Rouge? As they're like, we are concerned.
Well, obviously, I see Fred all the time because we're all members of Capital Region Planning and the MPO, and so we have these conversations concerning traffic. And, Fred's concerned. His streets are going to be overloaded. And unfortunately, there seems to be always a breakdown in communication from the federal level to the state level to the parish level and down to the municipal level on who's going to do what, when, where, and how is it going to be done, what's the time frame going to be. And then it doesn't take much of a wrinkle. For example, DOTD pulls the plug on something because they don't have the money. Then, oh my gosh, now what are we going to do to overcome those kinds of hurdles? So we have to be creative, and like I say, Fred and I talk every meeting that we go to, and a couple of times in between. But Florida Boulevard is going to be the key. It really will be, and Airline Highway once you get into the city itself, for people to get in and out of that part of Baton Rouge. He's working as hard as we can, and we're working as hard as we can on our end to try to lessen the load that's going into Baton Rouge. The schools, LSU and Southern, when they're out of school, the traffic's significantly less.
Yes.
You can go out there this week and you can see how easy it is to get around, even with the Christmas shopping that's going on. So the alternative plans are ones that we had to look forward afterward. The presentation from the Commuter Krewe. I happened to be on the board, and so I was able to see this in the early stages, and I thought it would be a good fit for us here. It's something that we're not used to seeing because we're not used to mass transit at all.
Absolutely.
But we have to start thinking about this. And maybe we have a year before it really gets bad, but when it gets bad, it's going to be bad for a while. Then we have the new bridge that we have to contend with, and what is that going to do to our traffic flow? So that's one of the concerns, because we're probably another year away from where is it going to be located and how is it going to affect what we're doing here.
Yeah, I believe they recently whittled it down to just 3.
Just 3, that's correct.
But who knows which one of those 3 is going to win out.
Now, if there was one concern, and I'm assuming Kenyatta that is still in play, if you're on a carpool and if you're on a sanctioned carpool group and van ride group, and you have an emergency at home.
Yes.
That was the biggest thing. When I heard that part, I said, okay, this is a deal changer.
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest sellers, I would say, for our program is that we have an emergency ride home program. And we get questioned a whole lot by many other people that's in the program or commuters that are interested in joining the program. Well, what if I'm in my van pool? Let's say the 3 of us are in our van pool or our carpool. Mayor Landry has to leave us for the day because he has to get back to a meeting. Well, how are you and I going to get back to our cars, right? Like, we're going to be stuck out there, nowhere to go, but that is not true. Commuter Krewe's emergency ride program is, if that ever happens in a situation, you can choose another form of transportation to get you home. So whether you need to call Uber, Lyft, whether you need to catch a cat's bus route home, whatever it may be, a taxi, you can do that. And you can do that up to 4 times in a year in our program for up to $100 each time. No questions asked. So if Mayor Landry leaves us, we can call it Uber, have that Uber take us home. You screenshot a picture of the receipt that you paid for that Uber driver. You send it over to me and my team, and immediately, no questions asked, if you are a member of Commuter Krewe, we will refund you for that trip.
That's a game changer to me.
Sure.
I mean, you're a young parent, you have kids in school,
Absolutely.
one of the kids gets sick, rent your car or take an Uber back home or to the school, and it's just a sense of security that a lot of family, of mothers and fathers would have.
Yes.
Yeah. That I was going to ask, what if there's a problem? So you pretty much answered
We got that
question.
covered for you.
Because when people sit there and look at traffic, problems come up.
We do.
And sometimes you want to have your own car, so it's nice
We
to know
do.
you've got a backup.
Absolutely.
Up to 4 times a year. That's
Yes.
pretty impressive.
Yes.
But of course, as you said, it is based upon you having the app, having signed in, and having utilized
correct.
That's
the app.
right. That's right.
That's
So a
correct.
lot of this hinges on app usage.
That's right.
Okay. So you have to be diligent with that. And of course, as we mentioned before, we're going to bring it up again. Getting the app, signing up is important
Yes.
because it's going to let you know, at CRPC, and to a certain extent, the other stakeholders know how many people are really interested in this.
That's right.
So as people start to sign up for the app, what kind of timeline are you looking at?
So again, to sign up for the app, 30 seconds or less, just to kind of create that account in the app. And I do wanted to share with you that we've gone from, at the start of this program, probably just like a handful of commuters that were actually in the app. We're knocking on the door to almost 4,700 commuters now that are now in our database that is using the app. They're carpooling. Our motto for this is try it, you'll like it. So it may take one day to do it. And after that one day, you're like, you know what? We could do this twice a week, or we could do this 3 times a week. And don't forget, when you're teleworking, you can log your trips in there as well. When you're biking to work, you can log those trips in there as well. So it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to create the app or to open the app. Create your account, start logging your trips. And if ever you need our help at Commuter Krewe, we are free to come out to your employer and help do one-on-one presentations with you, instructional videos with you, explain more about the program. Also, with large employers, we could be a great benefit. I know we just got on board as well, Coca-Cola, so giving a great shout out to them. They're now implementing carpool spots at the front door. So if you are a carpool rider or a van pool rider, like for Coca-Cola, not only are you able to log your trips in the app and get incentivized and rewards for that, you don't have to park all the way in the back of the parking lot when you get to work. Those first 10 spots have now been dedicated for their organization to park right there at the front door. So there's many other incentives that goes along with the program.
So that's good too. That was going to be another question. If people have follow-up questions, specific, because people can come up with some real clever questions.
Absolutely.
They can reach out to you at CRPC directly.
Absolutely. So they can go to our Commuter Krewe website. Our information is there. info@commuterkrewe.la. You can also meet our staff on the website. Drop us the email there as well. Our response time is less than 24 hours. We try and be really accurate in getting back to people, prompt, timely with answering their questions. So it's what we're here for.
Okay.
I have been amazed from the very beginning how they've covered almost all the specifics. They've covered almost all the items that could be a potential no.
Right.
Okay. Other than come out and try it. Come out and try it. You might like it. So come and meet some of these folks and come try it one time. You might be surprised. And look, when it starts to hit your pocketbook and time, look, especially if you talk about a van pool, right? If you got 10 people that you're driving all the way down into downtown Baton Rouge, what are those 10 people doing? They could be on laptops. They could be on their cell phones. They could be doing some telework. They could be working from the van and save some of the time when they get to work.
Sure.
emails. I mean, just any number of things that they could do.
Well, I don't know if either one of you have ever sat on 12 going into Baton Rouge first thing in the morning, but it is impressive what some of these people can pull off behind the wheel of a vehicle. And I
Even
say
when
that,
they're by themselves.
I was about to say, I'm saying that a little facetiously.
Even by themselves.
It is insane.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
Yes.
I'm not going to name the car or anything, but I did see a female who was eating breakfast, applying her makeup, had her phone, you know, talking to her. I was like,
wow.
whew. So
Wow.
this may be a great program for somebody like that.
Absolutely.
So the whole focus of this podcast is really, let's try to get the message out so people can start the process of joining the crew, get the information logged in so that people can see and make better decisions. Look, if she gets up to 15 or 20,000 responders, who knows what that may open up to somebody.
Right.
It may open up the door for some federal funding for like CATS or somebody to even come into our area.
Sure.
I mean, if you recall after Hurricane Katrina, and I keep relating this to a storm, right? But after Katrina, what was it, the Louisiana Express, where people were being bussed back and forth between New Orleans? Well, during this event, why don't we have federal dollars to run a bus service from this parking ride to downtown Baton Rouge?
Right.
I mean, it's a thought.
Yeah.
But until you think outside the box and you start asking those questions, you know what? It might just work.
Yes.
So.
Well, that is a lot of great information. I want to thank you both for taking the time, coming out and talking about it. And if you want to give a quick wrap up before you introduce yourself and just say, this is, please go sign up for the app. This is where you can get the information. But we are going to, and if there's anything else y'all would like to say.
I'm good.
Yeah, I do. I want to give a huge shout out to Mayor Landry for all of the support that he's given to this team. I always call him the ambassador of our program because he believes in the program. He believes what this is about, and he sees the potential in what can come about with this program. So I want to give a huge shout out to Mayor Landry. I also want to thank the leaders of First Pentecostal Church here in Denham Springs. Without them stepping up to the plate and helping us out with the park and pool lot, we may not have been able to do this. I want to give a huge shout out to them, and then also to my teammates. I try to never leave them out because it's not just Kenyatta that helps to facilitate this program. I have amazing coordinators, CJ, Tiffany, Anaya. They're a part of the Commuter Krewe program, so I want to thank them for their dedication and time in making this happen as well. So yes, go visit our website. You can download the Commuter Krewe app from your iOS store for Apple and Google Play. If you have an Android phone, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We look forward to getting more people in the system, helping with the traffic congestion. We just appreciate everybody, and we hope to see y'all soon.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. Ladies first, as we head on out the door here, if you want to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself.
Yes. So again, Kenyatta Robertson. I'm the program coordinator for the TDM program for Capital Region Planning Commission.
And I'm Gerard Landry, the mayor of Denham Springs, Louisiana.
And thank you both for taking the time this morning. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate these two one last time for coming out today. Appreciate everybody out there for listening. We hope if you do travel into Baton Rouge, you at least consider the program. Try it. You might like it. One last time, the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays. That's $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. One last time, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.